Hello, and welcome to another episode of A Spoonful of Species, your go-to place for conservation through baking. My name is Caitlin, and I'm an interpretive naturalist with years of experience telling the stories of animals, both aquatic and terrestrial. I'm also an avid baker, so each week I bake an animal-themed dessert and then discuss the conservation stories for the animal and hopefully help you learn a few fun facts along the way. This week we made jellyfish cakes, and they were so fun to make. I made them a couple of different ways just to show you all the different fun ways that you can have with these jellyfish mini cakes. You can make them any way that you like, so let's get started to talk about jellyfish. To make your peanut butter and jellyfish cake, you will need 1 cup of peanut butter, 2 cups of flour, 2 cups of sugar, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/2 cup of heavy cream, 2 eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of water, 1/2 cup of butter, and 1/2 cup of vegetable oil. To make your peanut butter and jellyfish cake, first preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and grease a baking pan with butter or oil. Whisk together your dry ingredients in a separate bowl and set aside. In your mixer, mix your wet ingredients together except for your butter, peanut butter, and oil. Slowly mix your dry ingredients into your wet ingredients in the mixer until completely combined. In a microwave, warm your butter, peanut butter, and oil together until smooth. Slowly add it to batter once it has cooled and bake for 20 to 40 minutes depending on your cake pan. Jellyfish are beautiful and calming to look at, and if you meet them too closely, they might be a little painful. And for some people, that's really all that they need to know about jellyfish. But jellyfish are actually extremely interesting and fascinating creatures, and I'm really excited to get to share that with you today. They're actually my favorite aquatic animal. They're really, really cool. So, to get started, jellyfish are in the family Cnidaria, which also includes the polyps of coral reefs and also anemones. These animals all are round, they have stinging cells, and are pretty much a lot of water. So jellyfish are 99% water, which makes it even more fascinating that they are animals and have so many awesome adaptations that help them survive in their ocean habitat. To make your chocolate ganache, you will need 1/2 melted chocolate and 1/2 heavy cream, chilled and whipped together. For your chocolate ganache, first mix the half melted chocolate and half heavy cream together, then chill until it is a little firm. Put it in a mixer and mix and whisk until it becomes a fluffy consistency, your whipped ganache, which you will then take half of it and mix with some jelly for the jelly part of your peanut butter and jellyfish cake. And the rest of it can be set aside to ice the outside of your cake. Jellyfish can be all different sizes, from the smallest, which is a boxed jellyfish called the Irukandji jellyfish, which is just barely a centimeter long, to the lion's mane jellyfish, which can have a bell, or which is the top part of the jellyfish that can be 7 feet wide, and its tentacles can be over 120 feet long, which rivals the blue whale as the largest animal in our ocean. These amazing animals, while being many different sizes, do share a lot of similarities, and one of those is their stinging cells. They sting using harpoon-like stinging cells within their tentacles, which are the frilly things along the outside of their bell or their bodies. And these harpoons are activated when you touch them. It's a bit like a trapdoor that kind of springs open. It shoots out the venom with a harpoon, little pokey guy, which then touches your skin and creates that stinging sensation that people get when they touch jellyfish. Now, many jellyfish, if they sting you, could send you to the hospital, like that little box jellyfish that I was talking about, but others are mostly not noticeable to people if you were to touch them, like moon jellyfish, which are really common in the aquaria trade. So even though they all have stinging cells, their stinging cells are different based on their species. To make your own fondant, you will need melted marshmallows, about a pound, powdered sugar, 4 to 5 cups depending on the marshmallow consistency, and some food coloring. To make your fondant, first, melt your marshmallows in a bowl in the microwave until just melted. Transfer this to a mixing bowl and slowly add powdered sugar, about a half a cup at a time, until it is completely combined and is dough-like. Cover and place this in the refrigerator for up to an hour or until you're ready to use it. Jellyfish have really fascinating life cycles too. So most jellyfish start as an egg, and that gets released into the water by the adult jellyfish that we know and love, or sometimes hate. And the egg then hatches into something called a planula larva, which looks like a teeny little worm that kind of wriggles around in the ocean, eventually settling down onto the ocean floor, where it then becomes something called a polyp. This polyp will then build one on top of another, identical clones of itself, looking a bit like a Pez dispenser. It can pop off each and every individual clone based on the conditions of the water. So when conditions are perfect, those little clones pop off, and it's called strobulation. Once strobulation occurs, you have these teeny little mini jellyfish. They don't quite look like the adults yet, but those are called ephyra, and those little ephyra slowly grow up into the medusa stage, which is the adult stage of jellyfish that we all know about. It's much more common for people to think about the medusa stage than any of the other stages in a jellyfish life cycle. Jellyfish also have incredible adaptations. Some of them, if there is a hole poked in them, they can regrow those cells within 24 hours. Other jellyfish can, if split in half, regrow entire bodies from that half. And some other jellyfish are considered immortal because they will revert back to that little polyp stage that I mentioned over and over again as their medusa stage grows too old, which is incredible because, like I said before, they are over 99% water. Jellyfish have a couple of things that set them apart from other animals that are jelly-like in the ocean. One is oral arms, which are the central kind of frilly-looking arms in the center of their bodies, and the outside of their bodies have the tentacles, which are the stinging cells. So the oral arms can contract up and down to bring their food to the mouth, and the stinging cells along the outside actually sting the prey and bring it to the oral arms, which then bring it to the mouth, which, if you think about it, is really complicated for an animal that is mostly water. To put together your peanut butter and jellyfish cakes, first, take the cake that you baked and mix it with your ganache that has been mixed with jelly until it is a Play-Doh-like consistency. Place these firmly into your round silicone molds and then place into the freezer for about 10 to 15 minutes to let them set. Next, pull out of the freezer, take them out of the molds and ice them with the rest of the ganache, and then place back into the refrigerator or freezer to let the ganache set up. While you're waiting, roll out your homemade fondant and then cut your circles with a cookie cutter or even a lid. You will have to cut 2 circles for every jellyfish. One to go underneath the cake, which should be slightly larger than the diameter of the cake itself, and one to completely cover the top of the cake, which will become the dome-like appearance of your jellyfish. Roll out more fondant and cut out the tentacles and the oral arms, making sure to twirl those oral arms to make them look nice and frilly. Using gel food coloring and a small amount of clear liqueur, you can paint or draw on your cakes to make them look like jellyfish. Keep in mind, jellyfish come in all kinds of shapes and colors and sizes, so don't be afraid to play around. Many people think that jellyfish are annoying or even kind of evil, but jellyfish are really important to their open ocean ecosystems. A lot of the planula larvae are food for some smaller fishes. Their bells can often be used by some fish as a protective layer when they're in the ocean, and they're eaten by many animals, including sea turtles, which I know we all love. Mostly jellyfish populations are on the rise as global climate change increases the temperature of our ocean waters everywhere, which jellyfish like, but this is a short-term increase. Unfortunately, global climate change is going to harm all ocean life, and it is important that we do our part to protect ocean life everywhere. So to do your part to protect ocean life, there are so many things that we can do. Number one is always going to be using your voice to vote for green practices that help the ocean ecosystems and help prevent the increase of global climate change. And 2, you can always pick things in your life that help with global climate change, which reduces your carbon footprint, like eating less meat. You can also visit Conservation International at conservation.org to learn more and support their work at addressing climate change at a human level, because it is going to have to start with us, and it's going to have to start on pretty much a global scale to make a difference. This has been another episode of A Spoonful of Species. If you like what you saw today, like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week to take another bite out of conservation.